Greetings, all true believers out there in the world today. My name is Renegade Operative, and today I will be talking about the Spider-Man Miles Morales trailer. I am very hot, so I'm going to do this discussion off the cuff. Forgive me in advance if I miss anything in particular. Be sure to remind me in the comments, just in case. But this is my sort of breakdown and overview of everything I see in the trailer and everything I see in the community, because every time Insomniac responds, their Twitter is always a circus of fun each and every single time. People just don't get it sometimes. Anyway, I'm not here to harp too much, maybe just a little bit, maybe just a little tad, a little freaking tad, fam, to harp on people just a little bit. But anyway, we're gonna get right into everything we saw in the trailer. And the first thing we see is Miles Morales is giving something a push. The first thing you see is the bioelectric energy ignite from his forearms. Now, if you don't know that much about Miles Morales, you would figure that something is amiss. This is something new. I never seen this before. What does this mean? When the spider bites someone and their DNA is corrupted from the radioactive spider and the radioactive stuff is all in their bloodstream, they get differing powers and abilities. Peter Parker, he is super strong, he can stick to walls, he can't organic web. Other characters can use the organic web. Miles was also affected differently when he was bitten by the spider. He has the ability to ignite bioelectric energy from his forearms, as well as the ability to turn invisible. I think the state of going invisible will be paramount to the Miles Morales gameplay, because the stealth gameplay in Spider-Man PS4 is very high octane. What I mean by that is usually you would do a web zip kick, or you would sometimes command a partner to grapple an enemy while you take care of other enemies in the area, while also using gadgets. The trials and tribulations in the gameplay show up when you do a web zip kick and you wind up seeing another enemy adjacent to you, and you may have a mission parameter like not getting spotted. I think this invisibility will help the players out in the long run, and it will add some options to the stealth gameplay. I also think the electric gauntlets will be akin to the electric gloves that you received in Batman Arkham Origins. You punch one enemy and you fry him like a piece of bacon. I think that's going to happen, as well as zapping the enemies in the area to cause an AoE attack, and you'll be able to keep the combo multiplier going, because you know how Insomniac likes to fuck with gadgets and abilities. I would say the rest of the story beats is very typical. Peter Parker is giving Miles Morales a monologue. It's an inner monologue, and he remembers Peter Parker talking about Jefferson Davis, which is Miles' father, and he died tragically in the middle of Spider-Man PS4.
Dad. Dad! Dad! Dad, no! Wake up, Dad. Wake up. Wake up.
A hero's just someone who doesn't give up. Your dad said that. He was right. Now it's your turn. Go be a hero, Miles.
And that was a big turning point for Miles. He was very lost without his father, and he's starting to get his own sense of responsibility, his own sense of heroics, and Peter is teaching him that and grooming him. And I think that was prevalent in the City That Never Sleeps DLC. If you played that DLC, you'll see that Miles Morales is indeed wearing the mask. He is indeed trying to do Spider-Man shenanigans. I think he ended up breaking his toe in the process by jumping off a building, which is absolutely fucking hilarious. Go check it out, go play it if you haven't already. I don't know why people thought that Peter Parker was dead, flatlined, out of the picture at the end of the DLC. Clearly he's not, and he might have some mentor role in this story. Anyway, we see various shit going on. I think maybe Prowler could have something to do with this. Maybe they could bring him in, because Miles's other villains are Spider-Man villains to a T, as well as him having the same costume that he did from Ultimate Spider-Man with the red and black. I think they might end up injecting some villains from previous Spider-Man lore, as well as injecting in some costumes from Into the Spider-Verse, because that was a differing outfit for Miles Morales with the shorts, the sneakers, all the works, you know, the spray painted red spider. We're gonna see probably all that transition over into this game, and I think that maybe Aaron Davis will be the main big bad. Who knows? Surprise me. We did see some interesting new animations as well. We saw some new stunt tricks that Peter Parker did not do in the original Spider-Man PS4. These seem very specific to Miles Morales in general, and I can't wait to see how this is all pulled off. I think they said in previous press releases that this game will be built upon the Spider-Man PS4 engine, but is obviously going to be enhanced for the PS5. Is going to take advantage of the fast SSD that is prevalent within the PS5, and there's going to be some new gameplay additions that were not placed in Spider-Man PS4 or not possible. What that is in particular, we don't know yet. Just stay tuned for some more surprises along the way as this game develops. And we see a couple of set pieces. We see a broken bridge falling down. I don't think they said anything about the New York map being expanded upon. Maybe there will be some surprises there in general. I don't know if other boroughs will be locked out like they were in Spider-Man PS4. Here's hoping that maybe we can go to other places like Queens or something like that. I think that might be a pipe dream though, especially considering my next point, because people were flat out confused by this announcement. What I mean is they flat out thought that this was going to be Marvel's Spider-Man 2. It's not. It's not continuing the symbiote storyline. I think there might be hints, there might be allusions. Maybe we'll see Harry Osborn finally wake up from the container that he was placed into by Norman Osborn at the end of the Spider-Man PS4 game. That was a cliffhanger, and I think they're setting up for the symbiote storyline. This is clearly not Spider-Man 2. I think of this game as like Spider-Man PS4 1.5, except it's on the PS5, obviously. Holy fucking shit, Batman. Terminology. It's Spider-Man 1.5. It's obviously a standalone piece of content that is a sequel to Spider-Man PS4. It's clearly a sequel, but it's not the full-fledged Spider-Man 2 with Peter Parker taking on the symbiotes. And I think that maybe they'll introduce something new along the way, like co-op. Maybe Peter and Miles might team up, or maybe you get to play as Venom, like I said in my Spider-Man 2 video when I did some speculation back then. Who knows? I think the sequel is going to be bigger, better, and stronger, and this is just an appetizer to fill the palate until then. I think that this is equivalent to Uncharted Lost Legacy, where they released standalone content and it came out as its own game. I'm wondering about the price here. I think it's going to be like $40. It has to be. It has to be like $40. That's the sweet spot for standalone content like this, especially considering if it's like maybe 9 to 10 hours long. It can't be that long. It can't be way too long. But that's good for your bucks. I mean, a $40 game at like maybe 10 hours, maybe 11, 12, whatever, that's good enough. Once again, I don't know how people got the terminology screwed up. Like, I don't know if this is a sequel, standalone game, blah, blah, blah. Once again, let's explain it. This is a standalone piece of content that is a sequel to Spider-Man PS4, not continuing the cliffhanger from Spider-Man PS4. That's going to be reserved for later. This is probably going to be a coming-of-age story for Miles Morales. Once again, it's also not just DLC. It's standalone release. It's probably going to have its own disc. And let's get to the box art fiasco that happened over the weekend. There was people complaining about the Spider-Man PS4 box, and they were saying that only on PlayStation was being absent on the PlayStation 5 box, meaning that these games might not be exclusive after all. I don't know if people really pay attention, but if you go to PlayStation site, the only on PlayStation insignia does exist for this game. It might not be on the box, but that's where the PlayStation logo comes in at the bottom when it says PlayStation Studios. This is a new terminology that PlayStation is using for their big time new exclusives. It's nothing that hasn't been done before. The intro cinematic for PlayStation Studios looks like the Marvel Cinematic Universe logo, and I think that is going to be the new terminology going forward for first-party games. those exclusives will have PlayStation Studios on the box. And even then, even if they ported Horizon Zero Dawn over to PC, I still think that Sony is going to do that whole slow drip thing. They're going to put out a lot of old games on PC, and they're going to see what sticks and what sells for them. But in terms of like day one exclusives, nah, they're not going to do it. I don't expect day one exclusives to be on PC. Maybe over time, but not now. Either way, the PlayStation Studios thing, it said this is only on PlayStation for now. We have to take their word for it. This is what the box art represents. I don't think it's bad, honestly, in terms of the coloring. I know people were like, why is white on blue? Why couldn't the case be black? I just want the game. I don't care about the superficial stuff. Some things are nice, but beggars can't be choosers, man. I just want this game in my hands, you know? The box art looks reminiscent of Spider-Man PS4. It's not the best. Honestly, it could be designed better. It just looks the same. Like, you see Spider-Man on the cover and you see a gradient background that's covered in either blue or red, and it honestly doesn't bug me that much. I guess it's representative of what you're getting, which is a Spider-Man game, and that's it. I wish they would have used some better art, but like I said, beggars can't be choosers. As long as the game is good, then that's all that matters. So I think we can do this final question, which is why choose Miles Morales over Peter Parker from a story perspective. I think that Miles Morales is finally starting to become his own character. He has his own sensibilities, and he has his own responsibilities, and he has his own tragedy, which happened in the last game with the death of Jefferson Davis and him being hollow for a good portion until he finally opens up and sees that he has a new extended family with Peter Parker and Aunt May. I think that's going to be very important going forward, as well as Peter teaching him right from wrong, as well as trying to see that there's going to be some conflict down the road. Maybe Miles will think different. That's the thing about Miles Morales that people complained about in the past. They complained about him being just the typical Black Spider-Man, you know, and now he's starting to become his own character with this game, with Into the Spider-Verse, and he's starting to grow. And I think over time he might have things that Peter and him might clash against. I think that will be an interesting, you know, paradigm shift to have some things where they disagree with, and the symbiotes are going to be a crazy storyline where they need more time to build it up. I can see why this is not Spider-Man 2. That's going to take more time, more patience, more dedication, and we have to wait for that along the line. In order to set up Miles Morales, we had the DLC, we had the main game where he got bit. That was the intro, and then we had the DLC where he was taught, and we got a little bit of backstory there. And now we're getting the full-fledged game where we can actually play with him and see his own trials and tribulations. I think the main message of this with Miles Morales is that everyone can be Spider-Man. However, we all have different problems going on in the real world that will affect and encompass us all. And behind the suit is a human. That's what Spider-Man has always been, the duality of man, hero from human. And seeing all this stuff affect Miles, I wonder how that's going to play, and will they start bringing his relatives into it, the people that are left that are the most important to him. That's what I'm looking forward to in this story. I hope that's fleshed out. And what do you guys think in the comments below? Like, what other suits do you want to see on Miles Morales, even though it's not a lot? You know, he came from the Ultimate Comics and Brian Michael Bendis. What do you want to see personally in this game, story-wise, gameplay-wise? What do you want to see come back? I just want to see more Electric Web and kicking ass and taking names, because I just want to be the goddamn Spider-Man, and I want a very interpersonal, deep, connected story, and I want to have this setup of this being Spider-Man 2 and leading into the symbiotes. That's going to be a cool ending, and I hope to see it very, very soon. This is coming out holiday 2020, very early. Can you believe that? Anyway, are you getting a PS5 at launch? How do you feel about Spider-Man Miles Morales? Let me know in the comments below, fam. This is Renegade Operative signing off. Hopefully you guys like this video, and once again, take care. Remember to leave me a like, subscribe, do all that crazy stuff. Look in the description below and check me out on all social media platforms. I will be around and kicking. Hopefully you enjoyed this once again, and as always, take care, be safe, see you later.